Our minds are constantly bombarded with information, forcing us to make countless decisions daily. To cope with this overwhelming influx, our brains have evolved efficient strategies heuristics. These mental shortcuts, like well-trodden paths in a forest, allow us to navigate the complex terrain of decision-making quickly and effortlessly. Heuristics are unconscious, intuitive judgments that simplify complex problems, providing us with readily available answers based on past experiences and ingrained patterns. In essence, heuristics are rules of thumb, simplifying principles that help us make sense of the world without getting bogged down in intricate details. While they might not always lead us to the most rational or optimal choices, their value lies in their speed and efficiency. They are the brain's way of saying, good enough, allowing us to move forward without getting paralyzed by uncertainty. Think of heuristics as mental algorithms, pre-programmed responses that bypass deep analysis. When faced with a choice, our brains often skip the arduous process of gathering all available information and meticulously weighing pros and cons. Instead, heuristics kick in, offering a quick and dirty solution based on readily accessible information and learned associations. This reliance on mental shortcuts is not laziness but a testament to the brain's remarkable ability to adapt and optimize. In a world overflowing with stimuli, heuristics allow us to make countless decisions without exhausting our cognitive resources. They are the invisible forces shaping our judgments, often operating beneath our conscious awareness. The world of heuristics is rich and diverse, with different types serving distinct purposes. One commonly used shortcut is the availability heuristic, which estimates the likelihood of an event based on how easily examples come to mind. If we can readily recall instances of something happening, we tend to overestimate its probability. For instance, vivid news reports of plane crashes can make us perceive air travel as riskier than it actually is, even though statistically, it remains one of the safest modes of transportation. Another prominent heuristic is the representativeness heuristic, where we judge the probability of an event based on how closely it resembles a prototype or stereotype. This often leads to errors in judgment when we ignore base rates or statistical probabilities. For example, we might assume someone with a passion for poetry and a contemplative nature is more likely to be a literature professor than a truck driver, even though the latter profession is far more common. Anchoring, another influential heuristic, involves latching onto an initial piece of information, even if it's arbitrary, and using it as a reference point for subsequent judgments. This can significantly sway our decisions, especially in negotiations or price estimations. If a car salesman starts by quoting an inflated price, we are likely to anchor our counteroffer to that initial figure even if it's far from the car's actual market value. The familiarity heuristic, also known as the mere exposure effect, suggests that we tend to develop a preference for things we are repeatedly exposed to. This explains why advertisers bombard us with repetitive commercials, hoping to make their products more appealing simply by making them familiar. This heuristic highlights the power of repeated exposure in shaping our preferences, even in the absence of any logical reason. Heuristics, despite their potential for bias, offer significant benefits in our daily lives. Their primary advantage lies in their efficiency, allowing us to make quick decisions without getting bogged down in endless analysis. Imagine having to meticulously evaluate every possible option when choosing a breakfast cereal at the supermarket. Heuristics, like choosing a familiar brand or opting for the one with the most appealing packaging, streamline this process, freeing up our mental energy for more critical tasks. Beyond simplifying everyday choices, heuristics prove invaluable in complex, high-stakes situations. In emergency medicine, doctors often rely on heuristics to make rapid diagnoses and treatment decisions, where delays could be life-threatening. These mental shortcuts, honed through years of experience and accumulated knowledge, allow medical professionals to act swiftly and decisively when time is of the essence. The efficiency of heuristics extends beyond individual decision-making, shaping the dynamics of social interactions. When forming impressions of others, we often rely on heuristics, using readily observable cues like appearance, body language, and verbal expressions to make quick judgments about their personality and trustworthiness. While these snap judgments can sometimes be misleading, they facilitate social interactions, allowing us to navigate the complex web of human relationships with relative ease. In Section 4, we explore the limitations of heuristics, when shortcuts lead us astray. While heuristics offer a practical approach to decision-making, they are not without their drawbacks. Their very efficiency, stemming from simplification and reliance on limited information, can lead to systematic errors in judgment, known as cognitive biases. These biases, inherent in our heuristic thinking, can skew our perceptions and lead to irrational or suboptimal choices. The availability heuristic, for instance, can make us overestimate the likelihood of rare or sensational events. Our minds, drawn to vivid and easily recalled information, may perceive these events as more common than they actually are. This can lead to unfounded fears and anxieties disproportionate to the actual risks involved. Similarly, the representativeness heuristic can blind us to statistical realities. When judging probabilities based on how closely something matches a prototype, we often ignore base rates, the underlying prevalence of certain characteristics within a population. This can lead to stereotypical thinking and inaccurate assessments, hindering our ability to make fair and informed judgments. Anchoring, another potent source of bias, can significantly skew our perceptions of value and fairness. When an initial piece of information, even if arbitrary, anchors our subsequent judgments, we become susceptible to manipulation, especially in negotiations or pricing situations. This can lead to unfair deals and skewed perceptions of what constitutes a reasonable offer. Section 5. Conclusion. Mastering our minds for better decisions. Understanding heuristics and their influence on our decision-making is crucial for navigating the complexities of modern life. By recognizing these mental shortcuts, we gain insights into the hidden forces shaping our choices, allowing us to identify potential biases and make more informed decisions. While heuristics can lead to errors in judgment, they are not inherently flawed. They are valuable tools for simplifying complex problems, especially when time and information are limited. The key lies in understanding their limitations and learning to compensate for their inherent biases. By cultivating awareness of our heuristic tendencies, we can develop strategies to mitigate their negative impacts. Being mindful of the availability heuristic, for instance, can help us avoid overestimating the likelihood of rare events. Similarly, recognizing the influence of anchoring can make us more discerning negotiators, less susceptible to manipulation. Ultimately, mastering our minds requires understanding the interplay between our intuitive and rational selves. Heuristics, as products of our intuitive system, are not meant to be eradicated, but rather harnessed effectively. By acknowledging their power and limitations, we can cultivate a more balanced approach to decision-making, blending the efficiency of heuristics with the critical analysis of our rational minds.